Hello again, YouTube. Sunday sermon here. Sunday sermon. Wait, hold on. The channel is the No Matrix, No Simping All Subjects channel. I am Prophet Howard, also known as the Truth Man. On Sundays, I get in my ministry title. I get in my ministry teaching. I also do other videos sometimes. I don't know about today. Maybe if we had time later on. But we're going to do this Sunday sermon. Don't forget, if you was in church, what would you do? You would give to the preacher, right? So if you have the means to do so, then do so according to your means. If you don't have the means to do so, you will one day. Don't forget about me when you get it. So this is kind of a mixture, and I won't be before you long, between the content by request and the Sunday sermon. A content by request was made asking about the underdogs of the Bible. We're going to talk about some of them in this scripture, this first scripture that I'm going to. But you looking at an underdog. In fact, I have underdog in some of my online video game titles because people just expect me to lose, but I always end up winning. Just when they think I done lost, I win. That's just, to be honest with you, I don't like it to happen that way, but that's how it happens. It's so stressful, but that's how my life has been for the last 20 some odd years. People count me out and I pass them up. People count me out and I put a defeat on them. That's what we're talking about on today. If you have a Bible in front of you, you can go to Hebrews chapter 11. It's probably better that you go on your smartphone because I'm coming from the Message Bible, which a lot of people probably don't have. Because like I told you once before, the Message Bible, it reminds me of the Amplified Bible. It just hits like the language, the language we speak and the words that's used are more understandable in the language that we speak. So sometimes I like to come from this Message Bible. I'm going to read to verse 6, then I'm going to talk a little bit, then I'm going to keep going from verse 7 to verse 20. I'm going to be stopping, but I'm going to keep reading because the content by request was about the underdogs, and a lot of them are listed in here. We're going to go to verse 32. We're going to be stopping, but we're going to go to verse 32. And then I have a movie clip that I want to play and kind of touch on because it goes hand in hand with what we're talking about. So let's begin. Y'all gotta realize I got a little slight cold. Everywhere I look, I'm around sick people, and my body fought it off for months. For months, everywhere I go. Then the people in my house, then this person. Eventually, your body is gonna weaken. Now, my immune system is strong enough where it's not gonna be that bad. And it's not going to last that long. But still, these other people need to do something, man. Something they doing is not right. It's not working. But anyway, back on subject. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1. The fundamental fact of existence is that this trust in God This faith is the firm foundation under everything that makes life worth living. It's our handle on what we can't see. The act of faith is what distinguished our ancestors, set them above the crowd. See, our ancestors were underdogs, but their faith made them the favorite. Verse 3, by faith we see the world called into existence by God's word. What we see created by what we don't see. Verse 4, by an act of faith, Abel brought a better sacrifice to God than Cain. It was what he believed, not what he brought, that made the difference. That's what God noticed and approved as righteous. He looked at Abel's faith. He looked at Abel. Sheep, livestock were like money in the beginning of time. Abel knew he would replace him, so he offered him up. See, some people be stingy because they don't have no faith. It says, after all these centuries, that belief, y'all gonna hear me clearing my throat, continues to catch our notice. Verse 5, by an act of faith, Enoch skipped death completely. They looked all over and couldn't find him because God had taken him. We know on the basis of reliable testimony that before he was taken, he pleased God. It is impossible to please God apart from faith. And why? Because anyone that wants to approach God must believe both that he exists and that he cares enough to respond to those who seek him. See, like I told y'all, this my whole life since I've been in the faith. In the faith, I'm not talking about Christianity. Yeah, that's the beginning. But as I began to grow, I noticed that faith is faith. And when you try to distinguish it, then you got to take accountability for all the falsehood in that faith if you try to distinguish yourself in a particular faith. And these are all the things that the Most High taught me and that I'm going to be teaching you as the weeks and the years go by. So, moving on. It says, let's go back. Because anyone who wants to approach God must believe both that he exists and that he cares enough to respond to those who seek him. See, if you don't believe he exists, then you're not going to be able to please him. So all of this self-righteousness in the world, if you don't truly believe he exists and you don't believe he cares enough to respond, you say, well, he don't care. He just want to give everything to sinners. That's the wrong attitude to take. Because the devil will beg the Most High to manipulate situations for you to do that because she's after your faith. Because she know your faith is what pleases him. You can't see him, but you believe. That's what pleases him. Verse 7, by faith Noah built a ship. Wait, hold on. I'm going to make sure don't know nothing come out. By faith Noah built a ship in the middle of dry land. He was warned about something he couldn't see and acted on what he was told. Okay, we had 9-minute mark. The result, his family was saved. What happened to Noah? His family was saved. Why was his family saved? Because Noah built a ship in the middle of dry land. See, if you on a dry period of your life, you still supposed to be building. Because that's what's going to save your family. See, people be like, yeah, he been talking about he wanted his own business for a long time. Keep building. They did the same thing to Noah. What was the end result? They drowned. Noah lived, and his family did too. It says, His family was saved. His act of faith drew a sharp line between the evil of the unbelieving world and the rightness of the believing world. As a result, Noah became intimate with God. See, our faith is what separates us from the world. This is why I tell you, I don't believe that it's just going to be one faith in heaven. I believe that all the faiths that believe in the God above, according to their deeds, their names will be either not in the book of life or in the book of life. Some Christians believe no Muslim is saved. Some Muslims believe no Christian is saved. But clearly both have not been instructed properly if that's what you believe. You think your group is the only group? Think again. So, it says, as a result, Noah became intimate with God. Verse 8, by an act of faith, Abraham said yes to God's call to travel to an unknown place that would become his home. How many people is the Most High been trying to get you to move? See, Abraham acted on his faith. People want to talk about cost of living and stuff, all the cost of living. No, if you feel led to go to a place, go. Abraham went through the same thing. When he left, he had no idea where he was going. By an act of faith, he lived in the country promised him. Lived as a stranger, camping in tents. Isaac and Jacob did the same, living under the same promise. Abraham did it by keeping his eye on the unseen city with real eternal foundations. The city designed and built by God. Verse 11, by faith, barren Sarah was able to become pregnant. Old woman as she was at the time, believed she believed the one who had made a promise would do what he said. That's how it happened, that from one man's dead and shriveled loins, there are now people numbering into the millions. Verse 13, each one of these people of faith died not yet having in hand what was promised, but still believing. How did they do it? They saw it way off in the distance, waved their greeting, and accepted the fact that they were transients in this world. People who live this way make it plain that they are looking for their true home. If they were homesick for the old country, they could have gone back anytime they wanted. But they were after a far better country than that. Heaven country. You can see why God is so proud of them and has a city waiting for them. By faith, Abraham, at the time of testing, offered Isaac back to God. Acting in faith, he was ready to return the promised son, his only son, as he had been to receive him. And this after he had already been told, your descendants shall come from Isaac. So Abraham was like, okay, he gonna give me a different Isaac. Abraham figured that if God wanted to, he could raise the dead. See? This is how you have to believe. This is why I don't try to convince nobody. The Most High told me not to convince people. If they not convinced of his power, then they gonna face his power anyway it go. So let them face it how they want to face it. It says, Abraham figured that if God wanted to, he could raise the dead, in the sense that what happened when he received Isaac back alive from off the altar. By an act of faith, Isaac reached into the future as he blessed Jacob and Esau. By an act of faith, Jacob on his deathbed blessed each of Joseph's sons in turn, blessing them with God's blessing, not his own, as he bowed worshipfully on his staff. Verse 22. By an act of faith, Joseph, while dying, prophesied the exodus of Israel and made arrangements for his own burial. By an act of faith, Moses' parents hid him away for 3 months after his birth. They saw the child's beauty and they braved the king's decree. By faith, Moses, when grown, refused the privileges of the evil. Let's just go now, because you really should have been read this a million times. Let's go down. Through acts of faith, they toppled kingdoms, made justice work, took the promises for themselves. They protected from lions, fires, the sword thrust, turned disadvantage into advantage, won battles, routed alien armies. Women received their loved ones back from the dead. There were those who, under torture, refused to give in or go free, preferring something better, resurrection. Others braved abuse and whips, and yes, chains and dungeons. We have stories of those who were stoned, sawed in two, murdered in cold blood, stories of vagrants wandering the earth in animal skins, homeless, friendless, powerless. The world didn't deserve them, making their way as best as they could on the cruel edges of the world. By faith, people gonna refuse to take the mark of the beast. We know it's coming. Anybody that has any bit of spiritual sense knows that the mark of the beast is coming. We know it's coming. By faith, we're gonna reject it. And whatever happens, happens. They can do whatever they gotta do. Let's go to this movie clip. This is from Rocky IV. The thing that made Rocky's character tick was his faith. Remember in Rocky II, he told Mick, I ain't going down no more. And he almost didn't go down, but he was able to beat the Count to win the championship over Apollo, a nearly invincible opponent. This is how faith works. I know it's just a movie, but this is how faith works. So I'm going to let you hear this scene in the background, and I'm going to be stopping it to avoid copyright, and hopefully I can stop it before that music kicks in for sure.
Before there were reasons to fight I could understand, but I don't understand this. Even if you win, what have you won? Apollo's still gone. Why can't you change your thinking? Everybody else does.
Okay. She said, even if he wins, Apollo's still gone. She said, why can't you change your thinking? Everybody else does. And watch what Rocky says, because Rocky has faith. He knows who he is. He knows where his talent lies. Watch what he says.
Fighter. That's the way I'm made, Adrian. That's what you married. We can't change what we are.
Yes, you can.
You can't change anything, Adrian. All we can do is just go with what we are.
He said you can't change anything. All you can go with is what you are. He said he's a fighter. That's what she married. Look at his backstory. Rocky didn't even have a steady job, but yet had his own place with pets. He criticized his place, but I believe something in Rocky, if this was a true story, always knew he would get his shot. Let's go back to it. Wait, hold on. Give me a second.
Can't go with what you are. Have you read the papers? Do you know what everybody says? It's suicide.
So Adrian had no faith. She was looking at the external, looking at how big Drago was, how strong Drago was, just like King David with Goliath. Everybody was looking at how big Goliath was, just like with Caleb and Joshua. They said we are like ants compared to them.
You've seen him. You know how strong he is. You
See?
can't win.
She said, you've seen him. You know how strong he is. You can't win. See, you can't always you really shouldn't listen to nobody at all who tell you can't win. Did Rocky win? I'll wait. Okay, but this is what I want you to key on. I want you to see what he said next. Pay close attention.
Adrian always tells the truth.
Adrian always tells the truth.
I can't win.
I can't win.
Maybe the only thing I can do is just take everything he's got.
So he said maybe the only thing he can do is just take everything he's got. Is he talking like somebody that doesn't believe he can win? Let's keep going.
But the baby, he's gonna have to kill me. And to kill me, he's gonna have the heart to stand in front of me.
He said he's gonna have to kill him. And to kill him, he gonna have to have the heart to stand in front of him. This is how I look at the devil. The devil done really been trying to get me for a long time. She has.
And to do that, he's got to be willing to die himself.
He said for him to stand in front of him, he's got to be willing to die himself. Now, does that sound like somebody who doesn't believe they can win? Even though the person he trusts the most, who he believed always tell the truth, his wife, was saying otherwise. He always believed he could win.
I don't know if he's ready to do that.
He said he don't know if Drago's ready to do that. So Rocky, somehow I believe that Rocky always knew that Drago had a flaw. Because if he didn't believe, he just watched his own friend get killed by this man. And he's still willing to get in the ring saying he gonna have to kill me. I don't believe he could do it. And he ended up winning. He ended up beating the event. This is a classic movie depiction of David and Goliath. David came with his faith as the underdog and beat Goliath. Ain't no telling how many people Goliath probably stumped on. Ain't no telling. So I've already accepted that I'm the underdog. I've already just faced that reality. But I believe that I can win the championship. And I believe that nothing in life is unbeatable. And just like the people that I read about, I'm willing to go through it like that. Because when it's all said and done, I'm going to win. My kids going to win. Their kids going to win. Because I'm willing to stand in there and fight an opponent that looks nearly invincible. Just like Thanos. Remember how they were triple teaming him and he was beating them all. He was about to kill all of them. Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America. And they had faith in something that they came up with Doctor Strange. How fitting. Look at his name. It worked. And what happened? Thanos lost. Because all the team that Thanos had eliminated with a snap of his finger came to help. They was back. Me being a Libra, when I saw that scene was emotional. See, if you a Libra, you understand that. The team, like I can't deal with people that's supposed to be on my team that's not. The days is numbered. But I'll stand forever with people that is working with me as a team. See? So, if this is you, you've been praying for a job, you can't get one. You trying to get ahead. It ain't been working. You sick. Your body is broke up. You got to be like these people I just read. I got to be like these people from Hebrews chapter 11, what I was just reading. We got to let our faith fight for us. By faith, I know that the devil, no matter what she tries, is going to come up short. All you got to do, look at Lazarus. Who won, the rich man or Lazarus? See, on the surface, it looked like the rich man was winning. Look at the turtle and the rabbit. Who won the race? The rabbit viewed the turtle as weak, slow, this, that, playing around with him, toying with him, and end up still losing the race. That's how it be. You know? Harming yourself is not an option. The option that you need to take is faith. I could beat this. I can make it through this. Everything we do should center around faith. If you're not a born again, if you're not a believer, and when I say born again, I'm not talking in terms of Christianity. I'm talking in terms of you and the Most High. One-on-one. You and the Most High. You come to him. You ask him to put your name in the book of life and to give you the everlasting life that you need to be standing before him with the rest of those who have faith with palm branches. I look at what's going on in the world, but I don't focus on it because I'm going to win regardless. They can't beat me. I'm going to win. I've lost things. I'm going to win. And if you don't believe I'm going to win, I don't want to deal with you. I want to deal with people who believe they can win and then believe I'm going to win. Relatives try to pee on you, treat you like a peon. Get away from around them. You don't need them. You need faith. And that's all I'm going to say. Thanks for watching. Keep tuning in for more video. This is The Truth Man. The channel is The No Matrix. No Simping, All Subjects channel.